Washington State was one of the more surprising teams in 2024, and they looked like a sleeper college football playoff team for a large portion of the season. They were one of two teams to stick around in the Pac 12, but the Cougars had low expectations entering the year as Cam Ward left for Miami, but this turned out to be one of the most exciting offenses to watch in the entire country. One of the big reasons for that was they had a huge breakout star on the offensive side of the ball in wide receiver Kylewilliams. Williams is a super fun prospect who is really starting to generate a ton of buzz after a great Senior Bowl week and in a solid wide receiver class. How high could we see Williams get taken on draft night? That's what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, which I will leave linked down in the description below. For just $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board, with over 450 prospects and written evaluations. There, you'll be able to find all of my scouting reports, combine and pro day numbers, player stats, and so much more. It is truly one of the best resources on the market, and if you enjoy my NFL draft content, I highly recommend checking it out. Leave a comment and let me know which prospects you guys would like to see in a future video, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Kylewilliams. Williams started his collegiate career at UNLV but transferred to Wazzu in 2023. He's been a very productive player for them over the past couple of seasons. In 2023, Williams had 61 receptions for 842 yards and 6 touchdowns. The expectations weren't super high for Washington State with Cam Ward going to Miami, but Kylewilliams had a career year in 2024. He finished the season with 70 receptions for 1,196 yards and 14 touchdowns. He was awesome last year and has been skyrocketing up boards after the Senior Bowl, so much so that Chris Sims had him at wide receiver 2 in the draft class. The first thing that really pops on film when you watch Williams is his speed and explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. He has remarkable quickness and speed in the open field, and that was on full display at the NFL Draft Combine. Williams ran a 4.4 flat 40-yard dash, and that speed shows up on tape. He's showcased the ability to win deep strictly because he can blow by defenders, and he's got really good first step off the line of scrimmage. But it's not just the speed that he showcases. His burst is really impressive. He explodes off the line of scrimmage, and he has phenomenal footwork for the wide receiver position. But I think what makes Williams really intriguing, I would argue that Williams has the best release package of any wide receiver in this draft class, and he's fantastic when going up against press coverage. He is so shifty and knows how to make defenders bite. He's a very stop-and-go route runner, and he can stop and go on a dime. He's got excellent body control, and he is able to consistently create separation, and I think that's a tool that is going to translate incredibly well to the NFL level. I also really like what Williams can do after the catch. He had 590 yards after the catch this past season for Washington State, and he's a really shifty mover in the open field, and he's a hard player to bring down. He averaged 8.4 yards after catch per reception this past season for Wazzu, which is a phenomenal number. I think he's a player that's going to be able to get schemed touches at the NFL level, and he's going to be able to turn it into a positive play. I think the biggest area of concern with Williams and a big talking point on why he's not higher on boards is going to be his frame. He's likely viewed as a primary slot weapon at the NFL level because he is smaller. He's 5'10", 182 pounds, and he just doesn't have amazing boundary size. However, that's not something I'm overly concerned about with Williams' game, as I think he does have a skill set to play on the boundary. He played just 25% of his snaps in the slot last season, and I think with his abilities against press coverage and his great footwork, he has a chance to be a boundary receiver. Obviously, size limitations are a concern, but I think he's got the skill set to play on the boundary. However, the biggest area I do think he needs to improve are his hands. Williams has to do a better job of high pointing the football and coming back to it. He does struggle to win some of those 50-50 balls consistently, and he had 5 drops this past season. He doesn't have the length to extend and go up and high point the football. He has a 72.25 inch wingspan, and that's just not ideal. He's not a super physical receiver. He's not going to win a lot of contested catches. He doesn't high point the ball super well, and I do worry about how that's going to translate at the next level. There are ways to scheme him looks, but it is something to be concerned about. Williams is a player who I like quite a bit in this class. He's fast, he's shifty, and has the ability to separate at all 3 levels of the field. On top of that, he is elusive after the catch. There is a lot to like with his game, but he's not super physical as a receiver, and he's got a smaller frame, and on top of that, he doesn't bring much as a run blocker either. He's my number 11 wide receiver in the draft class. He just keeps moving up my draft board because there's so much to love with his game. I think he's got a very comparable skill set to what the NFL is looking for. I think he's going to be a pretty impactful player. In terms of a scheme fit, I think Williams has the ability to play both on the boundary or in the slot at the next level. His press release and speed to win deep leave defenders guessing, and I think he's going to be a really fun player to watch in the NFL. However, given his size and his skill set, I think NFL teams are primarily going to view Williams as a slot weapon. I think he's got the skill set to be a great slot receiver, and he's going to be able to get schemed a lot of great looks. My player comparison for Kyle Williams is former Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett. Lockett is a player who's got a very similar skill set. He's quick, he's shifty, he has a really strong press release, and he has speed to win deep. Russell Wilson loved throwing Tyler Lockett those deep balls, and I think Kyle Williams has a very similar type of build and skill set. Lockett was a dynamic player for Seattle for a number of years, and they have nearly identical measurements, speed, and skill set, so that's my comp for Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams has an elite release package. He's quick off the line of scrimmage, he's a great route runner, and is generating a ton of draft buzz lately. He's an awesome player, and ultimately, I believe that Kyle Williams will be a 3rd to 4th round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.